I used to believe in perfect love. Not the fairy tale kind. I'm too practical for that. But the real kind. The kind where two people choose each other every day, build something solid together, weather storms side by side. I thought Sarah and I had that. I was wrong about a lot of things. My name is James Carter, and this is the story of how my marriage died and how I buried it. 4 years ago, at my friend Liam's 30th birthday party in downtown Chicago, I saw her across the room and felt something shift inside my chest. Sarah Carter was laughing with friends near windows overlooking the city, her dark hair catching light from chandeliers above. She wore a simple red dress that somehow made every other woman disappear. When she smiled, it was like watching the sun come up. I'm not the guy who usually approaches women at parties. I'm the one who finds a corner with good Wi-Fi and checks work emails. Senior software engineer at TechFlow Solutions, specializing in back-end architecture. Basically, I speak to servers better than people. But something about Sarah made me walk across that room, my heart hammering against my ribs. "Excuse me," I said, interrupting her conversation. "I'm sorry, but I had to tell you. You have the most beautiful laugh I've ever heard." She turned, and those dark eyes met mine. "That's either the sweetest pickup line ever, or you haven't heard many laughs," she replied with a smile. "Both," I admitted, and she laughed again. I was right. It was beautiful. We talked for 3 hours that night. She was a graphic designer, freelancing for small businesses while building her portfolio. She had this way of making everything sound like an adventure. Even grocery shopping became a quest for the perfect avocado. I told her about my work, expecting her eyes to glaze over, but she asked questions that showed she was really listening. When the party ended, I asked for her number with sweaty palms and racing heart. Our courtship was swift and intoxicating. Within 6 months, we were engaged. Our wedding was intimate but beautiful, held at a botanical garden Sarah had always dreamed of. The honeymoon in Bali was paradise, lounging on beaches, exploring temples, making promises under starlit skies. We returned to our modest but comfortable home in the suburbs, ready to build our future together. The first 2 years were genuinely happy. I worked long hours climbing the corporate ladder, while Sarah continued her design work from home. We had date nights every Friday, cooked together on Sundays, and talked about maybe starting a family in a few years. But gradually, things shifted. Sarah quit her job, claiming she wanted to focus on finding herself. I supported her decision, never questioning it. I trusted her completely. By year 3, distance between us had grown. I became absorbed in a major project at work, often coming home after 9 p.m., exhausted and distracted. Sarah complained about feeling lonely and neglected, but I dismissed it as temporary, just until the project finished. Sarah started spending more time at the gym, saying she needed to feel good about herself again. I encouraged it, happy she'd found an outlet. But lately, something felt off. Sarah was more secretive with her phone, tilting it away when I walked by. She started dressing differently. Tighter clothes, more makeup, even for just going to the gym. She'd come home flushed and energized, but distant from me. When I tried to initiate intimacy, she'd make excuses, headaches, exhaustion, not in the mood. It had been nearly 2 months since we'd been intimate. I told myself I was being paranoid, that work stress was making me see problems that weren't there. Until that Tuesday evening when I decided to clean the guest bedroom, a room we never used, kept pristine for visitors who never came. As I emptied the small trash can beside the bed, I froze. There, crumpled at the bottom, was a used condom. My blood turned to ice. We never used condoms. Sarah had an IUD, and we certainly never used that room. I stared at that condom in my hand, my mind racing. Who was in my house? How long had this been happening? And most chilling of all, what else had I missed while I was too busy being the perfect, trusting husband? Sleep didn't come that night. I lay beside Sarah, watching her peaceful face in darkness. wondering who she really was. The woman I married, or a stranger wearing her face. By morning, I'd made my decision. I needed concrete proof before I acted. I'm a software engineer. Solving problems through logic and data is what I do best. This would be no different. I started small. Over the next few days, I casually observed Sarah's patterns. She went to the gym every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 a.m. to noon. But when I secretly checked our credit card statements, there were no gym membership charges. I created a fake account and searched for the gym she claimed to attend, Elite Fitness on Maple Street. I scrolled through their Instagram, and there he was, Matthew Adams, personal trainer, with his perfect jawline and sculpted abs, posing in every other post. Comments from women filled each photo. My jaw tightened. I dug deeper. Sarah's phone records showed dozens of calls to an unknown number, often late at night when she claimed to be already asleep. Text messages were minimal. They were probably using a different app. Smart, but not smart enough. I ordered discreet security cameras online, choosing models small enough to hide in plain sight. I paid extra for rush delivery and cloud storage with live streaming capabilities. That weekend, Sarah mentioned visiting her sister. I seized the opportunity. Within 3 hours, I'd installed cameras in the living room, hidden in a bookshelf, master bedroom in the smoke detector, guest bedroom in the nightstand clock, and kitchen behind the microwave. I tested each one from my phone, ensuring crystal clear video and audio. The technology was perfect. The trap was set. But cameras weren't enough. I needed the perfect scenario, one where Sarah felt completely safe, completely free to do whatever she'd been doing. That Monday, I casually mentioned at breakfast, "I have to fly to Seattle for a work conference, leaving Thursday, back next Wednesday. Week-long thing." Sarah's eyes lit up for just a fraction of a second before she composed herself. "That's sudden," she said, but her voice betrayed her excitement. "Will you be okay here alone?" I asked, playing my role perfectly. "Of course," she smiled, touching my hand. "I'll miss you." I booked a hotel room 15 minutes from our house under a fake name, paying cash. I packed my suitcase Thursday morning, making a show of my departure. Sarah kissed me goodbye at the door, already dressed in her best athleisure wear. "Have a safe flight," she said. "Love you." "Love you too," I replied, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. I drove away, watching her in the rearview mirror as she immediately pulled out her phone. From my hotel room, I opened the app on my laptop and phone, syncing the live feeds. I ordered room service, settled into the chair, and waited. At 11:37 a.m., my phone pinged. Motion detected. I watched as Sarah opened the front door and Matthew walked in like he owned the place. They didn't even hesitate. Immediately kissing in the foyer, hands everywhere. My hands trembled as I gripped my phone. But I didn't move. Not yet. I watched them drink my expensive scotch, the bottle I'd been saving for a special occasion. I watched Matthew carry Sarah to the guest bedroom, the same room where I'd found the condom. I watched everything, recording every second to the cloud. The rage inside me was volcanic, but my mind was clear. I opened WhatsApp and created a new group, Family Emergency. I added Sarah's parents, Henry and Victoria Carter, her older brother Evan, and her 2 younger sisters, Ava and Natalie. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. Not yet. Timing was everything. At 12:15 p.m., as Matthew and Sarah lay naked in the guest bed, laughing about something I couldn't hear, I copied the live stream link, took a breath, and hit send to the group chat. The message was simple. "I'm sorry you have to see this, but you deserve to know the truth about Sarah." Then the link. My phone exploded with activity. The group chat lit up with confused messages, then shocked emojis, then furious all-caps texts. Within 90 seconds, Sarah's phone started ringing. I watched through the camera as she reached for it, saw her mother's name, and answered. I could hear Victoria's screaming even through Sarah's phone. Sarah's face went white. She dropped the phone. Matthew asked what was wrong. She couldn't speak. Sarah frantically searched the room for cameras, her hands shaking, her voice breaking as she tried to explain to her mother what was happening. Matthew was frozen, realizing he'd been caught in a trap. And I, watching from my hotel room, finally allowed myself a cold smile. Justice was coming. I sat in my hotel room, watching chaos unfold through multiple camera feeds. Sarah was crying hysterically, trying to cover herself with a sheet while simultaneously searching for cameras. Matthew had grabbed his clothes and was dressing frantically, his earlier confidence completely shattered. The WhatsApp group chat had exploded. Over 40 messages in 2 minutes. Victoria was demanding Sarah answer her phone. Henry had written, "How could you do this to James? To our family?" Evan's message was simpler. "I'm coming over. Don't you dare leave." Sarah finally located the camera in the nightstand clock. She ripped it out, smashing it against the wall, but I was already recording from 3 other angles. She ran to the living room, searching desperately, her face streaked with tears and mascara. Matthew followed, dressed but pale. "I have to go. This is insane. I didn't sign up for this," he said nervously. Sarah grabbed his arm, begging him not to leave her alone, but he shook her off. "This is your problem, not mine," he replied coldly, heading for the door. That's when I saw Evan's car pull into the driveway. Sarah's brother was 2 years older than her, a construction contractor with arms like tree trunks and a protective streak a mile wide. I'd always liked Evan. He was honest, straightforward, and loyal, which was exactly why I'd added him to the group chat. Evan blocked the front door just as Matthew tried to leave. "Going somewhere?" Evan asked, his voice deadly calm. I checked my watch, 12:47 p.m. I closed my laptop, grabbed my car keys, and drove home. The 15-minute drive felt like both an eternity and an instant. My heart pounded, but my hands were steady. When I pulled into the driveway behind Evan's truck, I could hear shouting from inside the house. I walked in to find Evan holding Matthew by the collar, shoving him against the wall. Sarah was in the corner, wrapped in my bathrobe, sobbing. "James," she gasped when she saw me, her voice breaking. "James, I can explain." "Explain?" I replied, my voice ice cold. "Explain what, Sarah? Explain how you brought your lover into our home, into our bed? Explain how you've been f***ing him while I worked 60-hour weeks to give you everything you wanted?" My calm was more terrifying than any shouting could be. "Look, man, I didn't know she was—" Matthew tried to speak. "Shut up!" Evan snapped, slamming him against the wall again. "You knew exactly what you were doing." I looked at my brother-in-law. "Evan, I need you to understand something. I'm not angry at you for seeing that. I wanted you to see it. I wanted your parents to see it. Because Sarah would have lied. She would have twisted the story, made me the villain, and you would have believed her. So I showed you the truth. I saw enough. More than enough," Evan replied, his jaw tight. He looked at his sister with disgust. "You shamed our family, Sarah. You shamed yourself." Sarah collapsed onto the couch, her body shaking with sobs. I'm sorry. I was lonely. James was never home. You just decided to destroy our marriage instead of talking to me?" I interrupted. "You just decided to bring this piece of shit into our home, into the bed where we used to make love, and you thought you'd get away with it?" What happened next was fast and brutal. I threw the first punch, connecting with Matthew's jaw. Evan joined in, and together we unleashed months of rage and betrayal. Matthew tried to fight back, but he was outnumbered and outmatched. Within minutes, he was on the floor, bloodied, begging us to stop. Sarah was screaming for us to stop, but neither man listened. "Get out!" I told Matthew, my voice shaking with controlled fury. "Get out of my house! Get out of this city! If I ever see you again, I'll finish what we started." Matthew stumbled to his feet, blood dripping from his nose and mouth, and limped out the door. The sound of his car speeding away echoed through the quiet neighborhood. I turned to Sarah. "Pack a bag. You have 20 minutes. Then you leave, and you never come back. James, please, Sarah begged, reaching for me. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll do anything. You had your chance, I said coldly. You made your choice. Now live with it. Evan pulled out his phone. Mom and Dad are on their way. You need to face them too, Sarah. As Sarah desperately threw clothes into a suitcase, her phone rang again. Her mother, her father, her sisters, all calling at once. She'd been exposed, humiliated, and now she was about to lose everything she'd taken for granted. And I, standing in the doorway with my arms crossed, felt nothing but cold satisfaction. The next 72 hours were a blur of lawyers, paperwork, and cold, calculated decisions. I sat in my attorney's office Monday morning, presenting evidence I'd collected: videos, time-stamped recordings, credit card statements, phone records, and the live stream now saved in multiple cloud accounts. My lawyer, Margaret, was a ruthless divorce attorney with a reputation for destroying unfaithful spouses in court. She watched the footage with neutral expression, then looked at me. This is airtight, she said matter-of-factly. She won't get a dime. I filed for divorce that afternoon, citing adultery with documented proof. In our state, infidelity affects asset division, and Margaret ensured the petition included every damning detail. I also changed all locks on the house, canceled Sarah's credit cards, and removed her from our joint bank account, all legal since I'd opened accounts before marriage and she'd simply been added. Sarah's calls and texts flooded my phone, but I blocked her number. She tried emailing. I filtered those too. She was erased. Sarah, meanwhile, was living in a nightmare. She'd fled to her childhood home expecting sympathy, but found only judgment. Her mother, Victoria, refused to hug her, couldn't even look at her. Her father, Henry, a traditional man who valued family honor above all else, told her she'd brought shame on the Carter name. We raised you better than this, he said, his voice breaking. How could you disrespect your marriage? Disrespect James, who gave you everything? Sarah tried to explain the loneliness, the neglect, the need for attention, but her excuses fell flat. You could have divorced him with dignity, Victoria snapped. Instead, you humiliated yourself. You humiliated us. Evan wouldn't speak to her at all. Ava and Natalie, her younger sisters, were mortified. News of the affair had spread through their close-knit community. The Indian diaspora in their suburb was small, and gossip traveled fast. Within days, Sarah was uninvited from family gatherings, removed from group chats, blocked by extended relatives. Her aunts whispered about her in Temple. Her cousins avoided her in grocery stores. She'd become a cautionary tale. Matthew had completely vanished. My private investigator, yes, I hired one, discovered Matthew left the city entirely, moving back to his hometown in California. His Instagram was deleted. His phone number was disconnected. He wanted nothing to do with the chaos he'd helped create. Sarah tried to reach him, desperate for some validation that their affair meant something, but he'd ghosted her. She realized with crushing clarity that he never cared about her. She was just an easy conquest, a married woman looking for excitement. She meant nothing to him. I, by contrast, received an outpouring of support. Sarah's family sided with me completely. Victoria called me weekly to apologize for her daughter's actions. Henry invited me to family dinners. Evan helped me repaint the guest bedroom, literally erasing the space where betrayal happened. My colleagues, who'd noticed Sarah's coldness at company events, weren't surprised by the divorce. Friends rallied around me, offering places to stay, distractions, and validation. I was the victim, the wronged husband, and society treated me accordingly. The divorce proceedings were swift and merciless. Sarah's lawyer tried to argue for spousal support, claiming she sacrificed her career for marriage, but Margaret decimated that argument with evidence of Sarah's affair and the fact that she quit her job voluntarily, not at my request. The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, was clearly disgusted by video evidence presented in closed chambers. The final decree granted me the house, the car, our savings, and all assets acquired during marriage. Sarah got nothing. No alimony, no property, nothing. She was financially destroyed. 3 months after I sent that WhatsApp link, the divorce was finalized. I stood in my empty house, Sarah's belongings long since removed, and felt something I hadn't felt in months: peace. Not happiness, not yet, but peace. The wound was still fresh, but the infection had been cut out. I could heal now. I thought about Sarah sometimes, wondered where she was living, how she was surviving. The investigator mentioned she was renting a small apartment across town, working part-time at a coffee shop. Her design career never restarted. Potential clients Googled her name and found whispers, rumors. She'd been marked by her choices. I didn't feel guilty. Actions have consequences. She made her bed. Now she lies in it, alone. I poured myself a glass of the scotch Sarah and Matthew once drank, sitting in the living room where the affair was broadcast to the world. I toasted to the camera still hidden in the bookshelf, a reminder of the day I took control back. Justice was served. But what comes next? 6 months have passed since the divorce was finalized. I stand in my backyard watching the sunset paint the sky orange and purple. The house feels different now, lighter somehow despite being the same structure. I've made changes: new furniture, fresh paint, refinished hardwood floors to erase every footprint of the life I used to live. The guest room is now my home office, equipped with standing desk and multiple monitors where I can code without ghosts haunting corners. Work has been my welcome distraction. The project that once consumed evenings was completed and earned me promotion to senior architect. My salary increased 30%, and I'm leading a team now. Colleagues notice the change: sharper, more focused, but also colder, more guarded. I don't talk about my personal life anymore. Trust doesn't come easily. I've started seeing therapist Dr. Reeves, a kind woman who specializes in betrayal trauma. She's helped me process anger, humiliation, violation of my home and marriage. "You didn't deserve what happened," she tells me during our sessions, "but how you responded, that's who you are. You chose truth over ignorance. That takes strength." I'm not sure I feel strong. Most days I just feel tired. But there are good days too. Evan has become genuine friend, not just ex-brother-in-law. We meet for beers every other week, watching sports and never mentioning Sarah unless I bring her up. Victoria still calls me Beta, son, and sends homemade food in Tupperware containers. Henry shakes my hand with respect every time we meet. Sarah's family chose me, and that validation matters more than I want to admit. I've been on few dates, set up by well-meaning friends. They've been pleasant enough. Coffee, dinners, conversations about work and hobbies. But I haven't felt ready for anything serious. The idea of vulnerability terrifies me. What if I miss signs again? What if I'm not enough again? That's normal, Dr. Reeves reassures me. Healing isn't linear. Sarah's life, from what I've heard through grapevine, has been much harder. She's still working at that coffee shop, barely making rent. Her design career never recovered, reputation destroyed, and no one in their community will hire her. She's been cut off from most family, allowed only minimal contact with sisters. Victoria refuses to see her, wound still too raw. Sarah tried to apologize to me once, sending long email explaining loneliness, mistakes, regret. I read it once, then deleted it. Some apologies are too little, too late. Matthew, investigator confirmed, is still in California, working at low-end gym and keeping very low profile. No more Instagram, no social media presence. He learned his lesson. Don't mess with quiet men. I've thought a lot about revenge, whether it was worth it. Would I do it again? Absolutely. Sarah didn't just cheat. She disrespected me, our vows, our home. She assumed I'd never find out, that she was smarter, that I was too weak or oblivious to notice. She was wrong, and world needed to see that. But revenge didn't heal me. It gave me justice, validation, proof that actions have consequences. But it didn't erase betrayal. It didn't make me stop loving woman I thought Sarah was. It didn't answer question that haunts late nights. What if I'd noticed sooner? What if I'd been home more? Could I have prevented this? Those questions are natural but futile, Dr. Reeves reminds me. You can't control another person's choices. Sarah made her decision. You made yours. Now you have to decide who you want to be moving forward. I'm not sure yet. But I know one thing. I won't be man who ignores red flags ever again. I won't trust blindly, give my whole heart without protecting it. Maybe that's sad. Maybe that's survival. I finish my drink, go inside, and lock door behind me. The house is silent, but it's my silence, my space, my peace. For now, that's enough. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.